Welcome back to another edition of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm Susie Selleck, and today we're in Southgate, Kentucky at the Evergreen Cemetery. I'm here with Scott Brendoff. Scott, thanks for being here.
Oh, nice to be here.
All right, so tell me just a little bit about when and how this cemetery was established.
Well, the cemetery was established out of need. Newport was expanding. They had two cemeteries there, the Columbia Street Cemetery, which is where the old Newport High School sat, and also the 4th Street Cemetery right near the Syndicate where the Peace Bell is. So in order for them to expand, they needed to move the cemetery out of the city limits.
Okay.
So in 1847, the Newport Cemetery at the time, their board decided to move it out. Dr. Shaler, who owned this land, gave them 17 acres, and that's when it started to move up here. So that's why there's so many older graves also up here.
Which I noticed when we were driving through.
Right.
This place is absolutely amazing.
It's beautiful and historic.
And so historic.
Yes.
I know, just talking to you before we began filming, some of the names that you dropped as far as who is buried here, pretty amazing. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Sure. You have the founder of Newport, which was General James Taylor. You have the founder of the first white settlement, which was Major David Leach.
Yep.
And then you have some more well-known names like Brent Spence, George Wiedemann. And you also have a lady who's not so well-known, but somewhat modern. She died in 1996. Her name was Cordelia Cook. She was a nurse during World War II, and she's the first woman in U.S. history to win the Bronze Star and the Purple Heart. Which is pretty cool.
You know I love that.
Yes.
Is there some George Washington lineage in here too?
Yes, there is. There's a man here, George Washington Jr. He's the great nephew of President George Washington.
The President George
Washington,
yeah. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
So with this being so historic, I understand that there is a Civil War battery here.
Correct.
Can you define battery really? Just
A Civil War battery is basically an earthworks. In other words, they mound up the dirt and they have artillery, cannons, stuff like that there.
Okay.
So that's really a really basic definition of a battery.
And so the Shaler Battery.
Correct.
Now, is that named after Dr. Shaler?
Correct.
Okay. All right. That makes sense.
And a cool story is when he offered this up, so here the original cemetery is down here, right in this area.
Okay.
And then this was all his property, and this used to be his vineyard back here.
Really?
Yes.
He gave up 17 acres of a vineyard?
Well, not 17, but up here, but up back here is the where the battery was.
Okay. All right. So aside from all these historical people that are buried here, was there a movie that was filmed here as well?
I think it was 1989.
Okay.
I'm not that old. Rain Man was shot here, the cemetery scene, and Rain Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
The cemetery. Oh, that scene was shot here.
Yes.
All right. Very cool.
Yes. In the VFW lot, there was all the trailers and the old car that you saw in the movie, and so you could see Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman going through all the time, and it was pretty cool.
So you got to see that?
I got to see that. I was sent home from my job, and they said, no, you need to go there and take pictures. So I took pictures, yeah.
Is there anything that I haven't touched on yet that you would be able to, share with us?
Getting back to the Shaler Battery.
Okay, yeah.
We're sort of link up to the Freedom Center over in Cincinnati. The Black Brigade of Cincinnati actually built that for the Civil War.
Okay.
That was one of their. A lot of people don't know about the Black Brigade. Back in 1862, the Black Brigade was founded as a labor party, a labor group or a troop.
Right.
And they went and built some military roads through here, the batteries, rifle pits, and so on. They were the second, only by 8 days, the second African American group that was with the military in the Civil War.
Really?
The first was in New Orleans 8 days earlier, yes.
Any other small treasures like that people wouldn't know? I mean, just to pull up some local history that's more of a treasure.
Well, we do have 2 Medal of Honor winners here.
Okay.
We have Mr. Horsfall.
Okay.
And I shouldn't call him Mr. because he was 15 when he got the Medal of Honor. he was a drummer boy, and during the Civil War, and in the Battle of Shiloh, he actually went through the lines and rescued a wounded officer and brought him back at age 15. And then the second was Thomas Doherty in the Spanish-American War, and he more or less did the same. Actually, 11 more out of his battalion got the Medal of Honor for saving wounded during the Battle of San Juan Hill.
I saw a really cool chapel when we were driving around. Can you tell me a little bit about the design with that? And
sure.
An interesting story there.
The chapel was built in 1904, and the story behind it, or the rumor, is that the architect who built it actually had these sculpted faces put on there, and supposedly one of the faces is his.
I would do something like that.
Yeah.
Just so
hey,
you know.
Artists sign their pictures. Why not put your face on a chapel? I don't think I covered this yet, but General James Taylor, the founder of Newport, has a huge family plot up there, and he actually has a couple of his slaves that are buried in his family plot. So it's pretty cool about that. And his one slave lived to be 102 years old. Okay,
and I don't mean to back you all the way up, but we have time. So can you actually tell me about that story? Because they did something very interesting after his wife passed away.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In James Taylor's will, he said his slaves would be released or be free upon his wife's death.
Yeah.
So in the 1850s, after his wife Keturah passed away, in his will was fulfilled. James Taylor's son said, "No, I don't think so."
Right.
So the slaves actually took him to court and won. Yes.
That I mean, I got goosebumps the first time you told me the story. Goosebumps again. I mean, that's an amazing story. So his slaves then are in his family plot.
He has
the Evergreen
he has a couple.
Cemetery.
Yes. Okay, let's go over the Civil War soldiers' lot.
Okay.
Everybody driving down US 27 sees the 4 cannons on it and says, "Oh, that's the battery." No, that's not the battery.
Right.
That is a Civil War soldiers' plot, and it was actually owned by the GAR post, Bull Nelson. Okay, so GAR post was Grand Army of the Republic. It's sort of like the VFW or the American Legion of today.
Okay. All right.
So you had to be a member of the Bull Nelson GAR group to be buried there, and that's where they were buried, and that's where William Horsfall, the Medal of Honor winner, is buried also. But the cannons were issued during the Civil War, but not used. So those cannons weren't really placed there to the 1880s from the Allegheny Arsenal. One other thing was I found out that an older lady on our street when I was a little kid, when she was a little girl, they had cannonballs stacked up on the wall, and they would take them after hours and push them down and see how far they would roll down the hill, see if they could hit the road with them.
Oh my!
So of course they had, this was, you're talking 1920s, 1910, So you can see why they had to take the cannonballs off the wall now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I can't imagine what they would be doing today.
Yeah, these vandals.
That's awesome. Scott, thank you so much. Again, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
I think people will absolutely love coming here. I mean,
they're missing out if they don't.
The sites match this amazing history.
I always tell when I bring grade school students through here, I said, what street do you live on? Is it a weird name? Is it not like Main Street, Oak Street, whatever? I said, I can guarantee you if it's around here and it has like Gaddis on it, they're buried here. Because those are the landowners. That's everybody who was anybody back in the day is here. So
very cool. Very cool. Scott, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching another edition of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm Susie Selleck, and today we were in Southgate, Kentucky at the Evergreen Cemetery, and I've been talking with Scott Friendhoff. Scott, thank you again.
You're welcome.
And remember, travel slowly and stop often. Bye for now.